Hotep, I am the Amen Osiris, the one and only undisputed God of law. We are deception stoppers, America's only child support education service, the 4D destroyers. I am not a lawyer. This is not a law firm. I don't advocate that you don't support your human offspring. I simply advocate that you made them in private, take care of them in private. And I'm shouting out to my brothers in Ohio. All right, and fellas that are all over the nation, don't feel excluded. You can find the same information in your state statutes. If you, those of you who remember, in Ohio, um, ex-judge dragged from courtroom after sentencing amid cries of no justice, no peace. Excuse me, and that was Judge Tracy Hunter. Okay, now we're gonna go down here. Hunter 52 was sentenced to 6 months in jail, convicted of a felony count of unlawful interest in a public contract. Now, this is a judge, which charged that she gave confidential documents to her brother for disciplinary hearing in his court job. That 2014 ruling was upheld in state appeals court, and in May, a federal judge rejected her bid to avoid jail. Okay, now, if they can convict Tracy Hunter, okay, for unlawful interest in the public contract, then any judge can be convicted of it in Ohio. And again, gentlemen, I'm quite sure it works in every state. I just happen to be researching this and I wanted to share it with you. Okay. Now we're going to go to Law Writer. Okay. And this is Ohio law 2921.42, having an unlawful interest in a public contract. Now I have this volume as well. It reads a little bit different in volume, but it's pretty much accurately on point. Okay. No public official shall knowingly do any of the following. Number one, authorize or employ the authority or influence of the public official's office to secure authorization of any public contract in which the public official, a member of the public official's family, or any of the public official's business associates has an interest. Okay. So we're going to go down here. We're to section E. Whoever violates this section is guilty of having an unlawful interest in a public contract. Okay. Two, a violation of Division A1 or 2 of this section is a felony of the fourth degree. Violation of Division A3, 4, or 5, these are the different sections up here, of this section is a misdemeanor of the first degree. Okay. So that was this up here. This is a misdemeanor of the first degree. Okay. Now, how would you prove that a judge who is presiding over a 4D crime family case has an unauthorized interest in a public contract? Very simple. All right, we'll go to the Ohio contract. Okay. Contracts overview. This rule and its supplemental rules describes the process by which Child Support Enforcement Agency enters into a 4D contract with a governmental entity or a private entity to provide services, 4D services, and for the CSEA to receive federal financial participation reimbursement to offset the cost of the purchase of those services. So they purchase these services. Who do they purchase these services from? Okay. Look, these are definitions. Number three, contractor refers to a private or what? Governmental entity with whom the CSEA enters into a contract. Number one, the CSEA is going into a contract with a governmental entity, which means the Child Support Enforcement Agency is not a government entity. And I'll prove that to you again. Governmental entity includes the following entity in the same county as the CSEA. Again, they're separate. A court, all right? The judge, prosecutor, sheriff, clerk of court, doesn't matter. These are all public officials. Okay. Now, let's look at what a Title 4D contract means. Title 4D contract means a mutually binding legal relationship obligating a governmental entity to provide 4D services in 4D cases or perform other administrative duties of the what? The CSEA. The CSEA is not even listed as a governmental entity that pertain to a 4D case in return for payment from the CSEA. They have a financial interest in the case, don't they? Here it is right here under Section A. Okay. They have an interest, and it is a financial interest. That's the only reason they're doing it. Now, let's check something else. All right. So you see here, these are the definitions of a governmental entity under line 4. Okay. Right here, these are the definitions. You'll notice that the Child Support Enforcement Agency is not among the definitions of a governmental entity. And we'll go down here to 13. Private entity means a company, organization, or individual that does not meet the definition of governmental entity. So that means that the Child Support Enforcement Service is, sorry about that, a governmental entity. It's not a governmental entity. It's not defined. Okay? So therefore, all these public officials have an interest, an unauthorized interest, in a public contract, and you can bring charges against them. If they did it to Tracy, they can do it. You can do it to another job or another judge. Okay, but don't forget that if they can get her on this, then start bringing charges. All right, go to the Ohio law, and this is for my Ohio brothers. You can download their contracts. All right, I've got a copy of their contract as well. Okay, and file an action against the judge, file an action against the clerk of the court, file an action against the prosecutor, the sheriff, all right, the recorder's office, the treasurer's office, or any other public or governmental agency or official. There it is right there. They got a financial interest in this case. They have an unlawful interest in a public contract, and their law cannot be disputed. Again, gentlemen, you do not have to reinvent the wheel. Take their information, use it against them, all right, and start cracking some heads. I'm the Amin Osiris. My email's in the description box. Bang it if you need some help. All right. And again, my brothers in Ohio, I'll put the links down here so you can get to this information. Okay. You need an appointment, then come on down and we got you covered. It's time to get educated. Hotep.